Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday, and welcome back to another Ask Me Anything About My Travel series. I'm excited to start another week and another work week, and that means more information, more content for you guys about my trip and answering some more of your questions. So, I actually got some pretty good ones over the weekend, and I've been sitting on this question for a while because I really want to break this up to multiple series, and that is, what did I notice when I got back? So, what was the culture clash when I came back to the US? And having been abroad for almost 2 years, what were the things that really stood out? And there's multiple things that I am both really grateful to have and struggling to cope with coming back. And we'll start to break those down into their chunks and try to hash them out, because I learned a lot about myself, and hopefully some bits of information can help you in your future growth. I have no idea. So the first one that I wanted to really tackle was communication between each other, just the way that we speak. There's tons of different ways, and every culture has a different approach to how you have a conversation between two peers. Uh, it really depends. Is it a formal setting? Is it a casual setting? But I'm going to really focus on a casual setting. So between friends or someone that you just met, what is the communication between those two people? And the first thing that I really noticed coming back is that Americans really struggle with silence. And this is something that's pretty unique to us, I think. And well, I wouldn't say completely unique. I think England has a lot of things in common with us, which would make sense. We were an original colony of them. We have a lot of English heritage. So it would be natural that a lot of our culture stems from them. But for the rest of Europe, and really for the rest of the world, silence is utilized much more. And it's okay to be silent even in a conversation among friends. And a perfect example would be, I was getting coffee in Germany with a good friend of mine, and we sat on the main plaza and just didn't talk for probably like 30 to 45 minutes. And we're just sipping coffee. We were just watching the people go by. We were people watching, and we didn't say anything. Now, I would challenge anybody to go into any Starbucks across the country and find a group of friends that just isn't talking to each other. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a good or a bad thing, but I thought it was really interesting how we do struggle with silence when we communicate. We really try to fill that void with words or in talking in some way. If there is a bit of silence, you try to interject with some other story or something else, just what you notice around you or anything else. Silence, not so good. And I think it was really funny for me to experience that. Not only the German side, but I'll give you the most extreme example that I ran into was the Greeks. The Greek culture was so fascinating to me because you could sit for hours on end, for hours, and not talk, and that was totally okay. So one of my couch surfing hosts, we were on the island of Paros, and there wasn't a whole lot going on, but he invited me over to his friend's place, and they were playing a little bit of music, and we just sat there and listened to music, and that was it. They asked me a couple questions about my trip, and we had a couple conversations, but for the most part, it was just silent. It was dead silent, and my American brain was going crazy, crazy. Like, what do I do? Am I supposed to ask questions? Am I supposed to, like, what am I supposed to do here? And they're like, dude, just relax, just enjoy the music. So it's super interesting how silence plays a role in a lot of other in a lot of other cultures' conversational style, and it's just almost non-existent here. It's almost a negative here in America, just something that I noticed. But something that's a little bit more applicable to me when I first came back is our use of personal pronouns. So what I'm saying is we use more I, we, us, mine pronouns than anywhere else except maybe England. And it really got me thinking about how we communicate to each other and how, friends, family, we all communicate to each other. And coming back, it was pretty apparent of how the back and forth goes. It's usually I share a story and then you share a story back, and then I share a story that relates to the story that you just told, and it's sort of a back and forth between, okay, this is what I did, this is what you did, this is what I did, this is what you did, but there's not really any building on any of the stories, and sometimes you can start to, not fully listen to what the other person is saying. And that started to really bug me when I first came back, and I struggled with it a lot because, sometimes I have a lot of stories to tell. This is why I'm doing this series, but I didn't get a whole lot of questions back on top of the stories. It was more of here's my story of when I went abroad, and then expecting me to, elaborate with my stories. And there was just a disconnect there. It didn't seem like I was fully being listened to, or I think in other parts of the world, it was more what are you doing? What made you do this? And like focused on the one topic at hand, and then transition smoothly into the next one. So I thought that was really interesting. And I can really tell through the use of personal pronouns, that back and forth. It's always I. It's I, both sides saying I, my, mine, instead of you, your, what are you doing? Why did you do that? So that was something that I really, really struggled with. And I think that it's something I'm really working on too, because as soon as I came back, it started to kick up again. I started to get into the flow of those conversations. And it's weird because we form these little bubbles around ourselves without even knowing it. It's not a detriment to our culture. It's just the system that we grew up learning and living. And if you don't see another option, then it's almost impossible to see that this is the way that we communicate. But the dangerous part of that is I don't think we hear each other a way that other cultures do. And we get trapped in those bubbles. We get trapped in the my, in the I, in the we, in the us, instead of branching out and letting the world in. We're keeping our world right here. So I think that's kind of dangerous. And I see a lot of problems from that, stemming from just the basic way that we communicate. And, a lot of the things about who we are stem from the things that we do and say, especially say, every single day. So that's something to look out for. Just, yeah, if you catch yourself saying a lot of the I's, my's, mine's, what I try to do is I really try to, in my brain, just have the idea that this conversation is not about me. It's not about me. It's about the group, them, what we're talking about. And it's really hard to break through because this is what we've been doing our entire life. But just bringing a little bit of awareness to that might actually help have some better conversations. So definitely look out for those personal pronouns and see what happens. Hopefully it can affect your life in a better way like it did mine. And to end on a high note, because that was a pretty heavy criticism of the way that we speak in America, but we have an energy about us that is just second to none, and I love it. And what I mean by that is we are loud in a good way. I think in a good way. We are happy. We're always talking. We're always having, like, it's fun. And one of the things that really hit me when I came back for a short stint 1 year ago, and I was on the plane, and I'm not, when you're in other parts of the world, people are just doing their business. They're not interested in talking to strangers. They're like, I'm doing my thing. I'll talk to my family when I get home. I don't need to worry about any other people on this bus, train, plane, whatever. When I was going back to America, I sat next to a woman on a plane, and she almost immediately turns to me and be like, oh, hi, like, I'm Miriam. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? How you doing? Like, why are you coming back? Why are you in Europe? And it like threw me back. I was like, what? Like, why are you talking to me? This is so strange. I'm a stranger. You don't know me. Why the hell are you talking to me? But it's just something that we do. And I think that's something really fun and unique about us that we should never, never let go. And a lot of people have really positive images of America because we do this, because we're nice. We're very nice from the beginning. We're okay talking to strangers. And we just have a positive energy about us, especially when we're abroad, mixed in with a lot of like I wouldn't say standoffish, but people that in their business, trying to do the things that they're supposed to do and not worried about anyone else around them. So keep up the energy, of course. Don't let that slip. And I love that about being back, is that it doesn't matter where I go, I can meet somebody new. And that's really cool. So I think that it's a good way to wrap up today. The things that I notice coming back, especially communication wise, is silence. That give or take, it depends on who you are. I actually like a dose of silence with my friends, because if you can get to a point where you and your best friend can sit there for 20 minutes and not talk, I mean, that's a pretty solid friendship in my opinion. The use of personal pronouns, definitely look out for those and try really hard, just maybe not really hard, but just try to incorporate other pronouns into your speech. More outward giving pronouns than personal, me, and bubble forming pronouns. And then also keep up the energy, because I love that about America, and that should never go away, because it's one of the reasons why I'm glad to be back. So thank you guys for listening. If you have any other questions or have anything else that you would like me to talk about that I noticed coming back, write them in the comments and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Have a good Monday, guys. Check out the podcast. That description, or that link, is in the description as well. Those are just stories of people that I met around the world. I'm pretty proud of it. And with that, excuse me, enjoy your Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. It's going to be a hot one in October. So stay hydrated, and I will see you guys soon. Talk to you later. Bye.